We have to be self-reflective people to grow in our leadership. And so what that means is that we take the time to consider our own personal prejudices, biases, and level of privilege, because we all have them. And so it just means that we're prepared to do the work of being honest about what they are. So I'm passionate about International Women's Day. I think it's really important to mark and to celebrate, and it does actually capture all women. You know, where in church life we do make a big deal of Mother's Day, but Mother's Day can be a bittersweet day because it represents a lot of different things for a lot of different women, and it doesn't really celebrate all women because, you know, some people are not yet mothers or have never been mothers. And so International Women's Day, I just think, is a great opportunity for a big party and to, as I've said before, celebrate how far we've come in terms of providing, you know, equal opportunities for women to bring whatever's on their lives into society, but also kind of rally around the vision to continue to remove barriers from women having, you know, as much participation as they would like in their chosen fields and spheres of influence. So I'm really excited to get to share this with you this afternoon. So I'm not sure if you're aware, but the UN's theme for International Women's Day this year is called, it's a little bit cringy to be honest, DigitALL. So digit and then capital ALL, DigitALL, innovation and technology for gender equality. Digital innovation for everybody. And so their description of that is that it is aimed at highlighting the role of innovative technology in promoting gender equality and meeting the health and developmental needs of women and girls. So I was pleased that they put that explanation on it, because when I first read it, I thought it's just about promoting more women into digital innovation, which is not a bad thing if that's what women want to do. But I also get that that is one of those fields that is going to help to bring gender equality in health and developmental needs for women and girls. So that's all very well and good if you want to know the UN's theme for International Women's Day. But I just took it upon myself to create my own theme for International Women's Day this year. And my theme is, I've given it a theme verse actually, and it's Proverbs 1:33, which says this: "But the one who always listens to me," that's God, not me, "will live undisturbed in a heavenly peace, free from fear, confident and courageous. That one will rest unafraid and sheltered from the storms of life." And the reason that I chose that verse is because I sought God this year for a word for my own life, for my year. And I've never actually done that before. It's not something that I've felt like I needed to do. And this year I just thought that because God loves me so much, that I would ask him for one and see what he said. And I just felt really confident that my word for this year from God was free. And I'm not going to go into all the detail of how I came to that word, but I'm 100% confident that that's the word that God gave me for my life for this year, and it was confirmed in a number of ways. And what I felt like it meant, and what God was saying to me, was that it's going to be a year for me to live free of other people's expectations that are outside of what God has said about me or asked me to do. And that if I can live that way, which is not that easy of a thing to do, because I tend to take on responsibility that's not mine based on maybe other people's expectations of who I should be and what I should do. But if I can do that, then that's actually going to help to bring freedom to other people, particularly women, because women and men are different, and our neural pathways are different, and our brains are different, and our psychology is different, and our biology is different. And I don't like generalizations. In fact, I hate gender stereotypes, but we have been created differently. And so sometimes I think it is actually quite hard for women to live free of the expectations of others. And so I just felt like that was God's challenge to me, that if, you know, I was prepared to live free and walk the journey with him this year of what it means to live free, then that would actually help to bring freedom to other women. And that's something that I'm really motivated to do. So I think that might be part of the reason why he gave me that word. So that's the reason why I picked that verse. And I particularly love that phrase in the middle that says free from fear, confident and courageous, because as a woman, that's who I want to be before God. And it's who I want my daughters to be. It's who I want the women that I lead to be. It's my whole motivation to do whatever I can to help women to be free from fear and to be confident and courageous. So my question to us this afternoon is, how can we be leaders? Because we all carry some level of influence, whether it's just over ourselves, whether it's over our children, whether it's over people we lead in our workplace, in our ministry world. We all carry influence, and I see us all as leaders. So how can we as leaders be people who empower women and girls to live free from fear, confident and courageous? I mean, imagine the world we would create if we all as leaders were motivated to empower women and girls to be free from fear, confident and courageous. So I've got 4 quick points that I'm going to run through. The first one is lose the pink princess. I just realized that I'm wearing a pink dress. I'm allowed to wear pink. I feel completely empowered to wear pink. And in fact, I'm wearing a pink and orange dress. And I noticed as I walked out the door this morning that my bag that I was carrying over my shoulder was also pink and orange, the perfectly matching shades. And I just felt very good about myself. Anywho, lose the pink princess. What's that about? It's about the fact that language carries culture. So what you say always matters. And one of the things that I'm really passionate about helping other leaders to see, particularly when they speak along gender lines, is that the words that you use are really important, and they can carry connotations that actually put burdens onto people that they don't need to carry. And so when we say that pink is for girls and blue is for boys, that can actually create gender identity issues for little girls who love the color blue and who love to wear blue. And we don't want to put any of those expectations on little girls, that there are certain colors in God's amazing creation and in the rainbow that are based down gender lines. I know it's helpful, for little old ladies when you're wheeling your pram down the street and your baby's wearing either pink or blue, because then they're not going to say, oh, what a beautiful little girl, when it's a boy. But I mean, we can all learn to live with that. So lose the pink princess is just about thinking before we speak about words that we use. When we call somebody a little princess, when we call a boy a little terror, when we use the colors, as I said, when we speak about ladies, when we use guys as a general term, or maybe we're not clear about what guys means. Does it mean guys and girls? Does it mean just men? Let's just be thoughtful about the words that we use, because it carries culture, and we don't want to do anything that's going to create burdens and not empowerment for boys or girls, women or men. The second one is to consider your own bias. So leaders are self-reflective people. We have to be self-reflective people to grow in our leadership. And so what that means is that we take the time to consider our own personal prejudices, biases, and level of privilege, because we all have them. And so it just means that we're prepared to do the work of being honest about what they are. So yes, I'm a woman, and yes, I know that means that I haven't had the same level of opportunity in some spheres of my life as men have had. I haven't been invited to sit at some tables. However, I'm also a white woman. I'm a middle-class white woman, and I'm a middle-class white woman who's had highly educated parents who value education, who've given me a lot of opportunities. So I can also recognize my privilege. And so I can use that privilege to bring empowerment to others. I can see the fact, I can self-reflect and see the fact that while I've had some disadvantages, I've also had an enormous amount of advantages, which empowers me to bring empowerment to others. So I'm just saying, let's take a moment today, no better day than International Women's Day, to consider what our own biases might be, so that we can remove the ones that are inappropriate, recognize the ones that actually mean that we're empowered to help lift others up to the level of empowerment that we've been able to have, or the level of opportunity that we've been able to have. Number 3 is see what's unique regardless of gender. So leaders see the whole person. And particularly with younger people who may still be heavily influenced by their own family of origin and, whatever language and culture things have been put on them in their own lives up to this point regarding gender. We as leaders are the ones who do the work to see beyond what is presented to us and see the person as God sees them. And we see their potential regardless of how they may be presenting themselves to us right now. And we speak into that. We choose to see beyond what is presented right in front of us, and we see the potential regardless of gender. And, I love it when men who have influence, particularly in the areas of church and ministry, where historically and traditionally men have carried a lot more power and been able to bring a lot more empowerment to the people that they choose, to see beyond gender when they're looking for the potential in people. We work really hard to make sure that we're key leaders who are both young women and young men, and identifying the gifts on their lives and getting them around great people who are going to develop their gifts and skills and give them everything that they need to bring their God-given calling and purpose to the world. So see what's unique outside of what's maybe being presented to us right now, regardless of gender, to raise up other leaders. And the 4th thing, so number 1, lose the pink princess, language matters. Number 2, consider your own bias, be self-reflective as a leader so that you can bring empowerment and use what you've been given to help lift others. 3, see what's unique regardless of gender. And 4th is simply God's word over everything. And that verse from Proverbs, it says that the key to living free from fear, confident and courageous is found in being someone who always listens to the voice of God, and that voice is the voice that's over and above every other voice in our lives. So as leaders who do have influence and power to bring leadership development and opportunities to others, we hear from God over and above everything that humans say about themselves and each other. So we don't take somebody's word for it when they say something about a person that we can see potential in. We listen to God's voice about who to promote, about who to see the gold in, about who to get support around. We listen to God's voice above everything else and at the center. So if God says to promote or develop or invest into a person, but we can't see it yet, or they can't see it in themselves, we still remain obedient and make the invitation. And I'll finish with this. It's not our responsibility to set people free. It's our responsibility to listen, to be obedient to God's voice in our lives. And that's all that he's asked us to do. And when we do that, when we make room for that, make time for that, we can live free from fear, confident and courageous, and therefore bring that same level of empowerment to others.